Okay, hi everyone again. Welcome. I think we should get started. Welcome everyone to be here, and thank you for joining this Woman in Cotton online event. Today, we are very delighted to have Sylvia Gloza to share her 20 years of experience in the cotton industry here in Brazil, specifically working on logistics. And my name is Fabiana Furlan. I'm based in Brazil, and I am part of the Woman in Cotton working group. Woman in Cotton is an initiative from the ICA, the International Cotton Association, which is working to contribute and collaborate to improve the participation of women in the leadership positions in the cotton industry. And we do online events every 6 weeks throughout the year. And we invite people from different parts of the industry to collaborate, share their knowledge in events like this one, which is Women in Action. And we also have other events like Chats for Change, which we invite professional people to talk and discuss topics related to diversity. So welcome again. Thank you very much for joining. Before we pass over to Sylvia, I'm just wanted to share some housekeeping information with everyone. So please feel free to raise your hand to make some comments or ask questions on the chat feature. This forum here is really to share knowledge, collaborate with a very relaxed environment. Some rules. Please be kind to yourself and to others, and aim to be the best version of yourself. Be thoughtful, responsible, and bring a positive energy to the discussions. Listen with openness and curiosity, and remember to mute yourself when you're not speaking. And acknowledge that as a woman, we can and we should make a difference to everyone's life at work. So I will stop here for now, and I will hand over to Sylvia. Sylvia, please feel free to start your
Sure. Thank you,
presentation.
Fabiana. Welcome, everybody. Let me share my presentation. Just a second.
Yeah.
My name is Sylvia Gloza, right? Who is Sylvia Gloza? I'm from Santos, and I live in Santos City. I love vessels, and my passion is cotton. Why I love vessels? Because my father was German, and he escaped from the Second War. And he started to work in a vessel from Hamburg Sud as a sailor in the crew of the vessel. So I'm totally in love about vessels, ships. All the time when I am in Santos, I can see the vessels passing. So I have this passion and cotton as well. I'm graduated in marketing and post-graduated in logistics and supply chain. My history with cotton started at LDC in 2002 as receptionist. And when I was working as receptionist, I saw all the time the people bringing some samples from coffee, from soybeans. And I thought, wow, what these people do here, right? And I started to learn and ask to the people from export department. And I started to do some training, some courses about export regulations, letter of credits. And one day I requested to my manager an opportunity to in the export department, right? After a lot of no, it's not small, it's not possible. They gave me an opportunity, and I started there at export department in cotton operations. In LDC, I started as export assistant, and I was promoted. I was transferred to São Paulo office, and I left the company as coordinator, execution and logistics coordinator. And I left Dreyfus in 2015 because I received a proposal from BTG. I worked there for 4 years. After that, I worked in Cargill, and now I'm working at Syngenta. And another curious about me is I organize the annual Cotton Execution Party that I invite everyone from the market, people from shipping lines, people from customs broker, terminals, trading companies. So it's a good opportunity to know these people in person, right? And do some networkings. And today will be the annual Cotton Execution Party, our 13th edition, right? I'm so glad here to share my experience, and I can tell to you all my background. So let's start to tell about the logistics in Brazil. That is very complicated, right? So Brazil is producing a lot of cotton. All the producers are investing in the fields, in the productions, but the logistics in Brazil is very difficult, right? 90%, 95% of cotton is shipped through Santos port, right? Because there we have more structure comparing with another ports. We have more options of shipping lines to Asia, that it's our main market, right? But as we are in the peak season now, we are facing a lot of problems there, right? With port congested, lack of containers, so it's very difficult. Paranaguá, in the past, was a traditional port to ship cargo from Paranaguá, but if I'm not mistaken, 10 years ago, we had a big fire there in a stuffing terminal there. And Paranaguá is difficult because they don't have a lot of space, capacity to stuffing cotton there, right? And we compete a lot with reefer cargos because Paranaguá is located in south of Brazil, and in south of Brazil, we have a lot of meat, chicken for export, and we compete a lot in terms of space in our vessels, right? Another port that totally makes sense to export cotton is Salvador, right? Because Bahia state is the second state that produces cotton in Brazil. Then the difficult there is, the main difficult is we don't have roads, services of shipping lines direct to Asia, right? We have services there direct only for Pakistan, not direct, we have connections, but we have options to Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Turkey, right? And we have the railroad in Rondonópolis, right? The railroad called Brado. They are stuffing a lot of cargo there, and the cargo comes to Santos to be shipped through Santos port, right? And today, we are having an event at Anápolis in Goiás state, because they will start another railroad there in Anápolis, so we can stuff cargo there in the dry port, and the cargo come to Santos to be shipped in the vessel. So we have this option as well, right? The main mode of transport in Brazil, 95% of cotton is transported by truck, right? It's crazy because in the other countries, we can see more railroads. Railroads is more competitive in terms of costs, but in Brazil, we don't have a lot of options with railroads, right? In the peak season, it's very difficult to hire trucks to bring the cargo to the port, because we have a huge volume of cotton, and of course we have another cargoes, another commodities competing with cotton. For example, the corn, right? We are competing a lot with the volume of corn. And we have, as I told before, we have the railroad Brado from Rondonópolis, Mato Grosso, that we can ship through Santos Port, right? Here I put some maps just to give you an idea about the distance from Mato Grosso e Bahia to Santos. So, for example, in Sorriso, Mato Grosso, the transit time by truck is about 4 days, right, in transit. We have more than 2,000 kilometers from Mato Grosso to Santos, right? And we have the map from Bahia. I mentioned the city, San Desiderio, that takes about 3 days of transit from Bahia to Santos. And we have here 1,063 kilometers far from Bahia to Santos, right? So here is Santos City, right? And I mentioned some berthing terminals that we have in Santos Port. So here is Santos, here is Guarujá. Here we call as direct right bank, right bank and left bank. So the vessels comes from here, and here we have some terminals, break bulk terminals. Here we have the first terminal of containers, that is Santos Brazil, right? Here we have the stuffing terminals, okay? Here we have another terminal that is DP World, right? Here we have another stuffing terminals located here in Cubatão City, okay? And here we have BTP terminal, and we have some stuffing terminals in this part of Santos, okay? And the logistics in Santos is very complex because we need to schedule the terminals of stuffing cargo should schedule the empty containers to the shipping lines, and shipping lines needs to authorize the depots release these empties. And sometimes we don't have the empties available when the cargo arrived in Santos, right? We should do all the stuffing process here in Santos, customs clearance, inspection of Ministry of Agriculture. And after all these steps, we should get windows at berthing terminals, right? That is not easy because all the terminals are full, right? And it's another difficult that we have in cotton operation in our logistics in Brazil, okay? Here, I bring some numbers about our current crop. So the production is 3,232 million tons. This volume, the consumption for domestic market is 700,000 tons, right? And the balance should be exported, right? For the number of exports in Brazil from August to October, we exported about 5,017 tons, 770,000 tons from August to December, August to October, right? So we have a huge volume to be exported yet, right? And facing all these logistics problems in Brazil. And for next crop, we have increasing volume, right, of 3 million, more than 3 million again for the next crop, okay? So a huge volume, and we need to to manage all these problems in Brazil. What are our challenges for the next crop? We should have more stuffing terminals at ports, right? Some terminals in Santos lost their license to operate cotton, not cotton, but the license to operate with export, right? Because some regulations that this terminal should attend as per clearance regulation, okay? We should use more alternative ports, for example, Manaus, that is in north of Brazil. And we have the option in Sepetiba, that is located in Rio de Janeiro, because in Sepetiba we have some lines directed to Asia. So it can be the one more option that we can use port to export cotton for next crop, okay? Another point is we need more option of vessel services at Salvador Port with connections direct to Asia, because now the service to Asia from Salvador can take about 65 days of transit time because the vessels should connect in Europe, right? So we need more vessels services at Salvador Port, okay? And we need to use and give more, the railroad should give us more capacity to use railroad in Brado. And now we have the options in Anápolis, Goiás, right? It's a good option that we can have for next year, okay? And another challenge is container availability, because as I mentioned before, we do our schedule for loading trucks at farms, and cargo will arrive in Santos in one date, but sometimes the cargo arrive and we don't have the containers, the empty containers availability, right? Because the shipping lines are doing the import, right, to bring these containers for import, but sometimes the depots don't have enough time to prepare these containers for export, and we are facing a lot of problems like that this year. And it impacted in lines of trucks waiting to discharge at terminals, right? Causing extra costs, right? Because we have costs because the truck drivers will be waiting there till the cargo will be discharged, right? So we need more improvement on it as well. So thank you. Thanks a lot. I'm very glad to share all my experience about cotton logistics in Brazil. Fabiana, feel free if you have any
Thank you.
addition.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. I think we can open for questions. The topic and the information that you shared, they are so interesting and so relevant for the cotton business in Brazil. Sylvia, if you'd like, just can you put the image on the presentation that you shared, Santos,
Sure.
From and up from a view?
Okay, just a second.
Does anyone have
Are you
any
seeing?
question? Not yet.
No? Okay.
Hi, Sylvia. This is Kim Hanna. Thank you for that really great presentation. Can you explain to us a little bit about what is slowing or preventing the use of rail, and what you think? I know you were saying we could, there's another terminal that's going to be available, but with 95% of the cotton moving by trucks, what can be done to increase the rail use?
So we can use more the railroads, right? To stuff, because with railroads, we can stuff cargo at the countryside. For example, in Mato Grosso, in Anápolis, that we have this option, right? And we can we have these options in countryside, so we won't avoid problems with lack of trucks, right? Is it clear?
Yeah, I think just building on Sylvia's comment, Kim, the main issue in Brazil of expansion, the railroads, are basically the restriction from the government ability to enable the concessions to invest in this mode of transportation.
Yeah.
It has not been in the recent years, in these all many years, a strategy from the government to invest in roads. And we are very much dependent on truck transportation, which is a really challenging aspect because of the size of Brazil, the size of the crops. So it's really challenging. But we've been having improvements. The good news is that we've been having improvements in these last couple of years. 5 years ago, we didn't have any space to export on railroads, but we have today. So year over year, we are, players in the industry are investing. So we have an operator investing in the infrastructure, and we have the private sector, us, as an example, as a farmer. We are shipping today 60% of our cotton through this railroad from Rondonópolis in Mato Grosso state. So it's getting better.
Yeah, it's getting better. And we need more options, right? Because as Fabiana told, Brazil is so big, and we cannot depend a lot of trucks. Of course, we need trucks, but we should find another solutions, another alternatives, right?
Correct.
Thank you. That explains
yeah.
a lot. Just curious, I'm sure there's other commodities and other things to be shipped from that area. Has cotton looked into combining with other, I'm going to say these other industries to try to persuade the government to grow those lines?
Yeah, in Mato Grosso, there is wood. Also, there are different other products that are exported driven and has a very large production in the state level. But speaking about cotton itself, we have cotton to be shipped throughout the 12 months of the year. Sylvia shared the numbers on exports so far. We just exported about 500,000 tons, and we still have out of a total export number of 2.5 million to around between that number. So it's a huge amount still to go. So there is enough product to be shipped throughout the whole year. But to get the license, authorizations, environmental impact legislations, and authorizations are the most challenging, Kim, in Brazil, that usually take like 10 or even 15 years. So that's one part of the process.
Thank you, ladies. That's a lot of cotton left to go.
Yes,
so
we have.
Wishing it's a lot of challenges too. Thank you. I'm sure let's move on to some other questions if anyone else has any.
Hi, Sylvia. This is Lidiane. Hi. Yeah, so my question is, are you hearing any movement in Santos to expand the Redex warehouses there for next year? Because we already know the crop will be at least as big as this one if the yields are more or less in the historical level. So the Santos is aware of that, the guys in Santos, and they are already working on that, so we don't suffer so much as we did this year.
Yes. I heard about that, right? The Abrapa Association in Brazil is doing some meetings, some conversations with government, right? Because some terminals are asking for this license of HEDEX, right? We don't know when they will have this license, but yes, we are hearing that some terminals are trying to get this HEDEX license, okay? And of course, another ports, for example, Paranaguá and Salvador, are trying to stuff more cotton there as well, right? So we have these discussions, but we don't know when and how much time they will take to get this license.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Sylvia. Just to I'm realizing, of course, we have people from other countries in our discussion. So HEDEX is what I'm asking her, is a type of license the warehouses get in the ports. So when the cargo is in a HEDEX port, is already let's say exported. So all the process can be done in the container. I mean, government
Correct.
approvals, releasings, everything can be done inside that warehouse. And whereas when we have a general warehouse, what do you mean? What I mean is you can put the cargo there, but you cannot make the export process there. So this is
Correct.
our issue this year, because Santos had a lot of warehouses that were allowed, they were HEDEX, and they lost this license. So when you put your cargo in a warehouse that's not HEDEX, you add another layer to the process, and it becomes more complex. So this is why I asked this, Sylvia, because we need in Brazil next year to have more HEDEX warehouses back. Sorry, Sylvia.
No, yes, correct.
Just to make
Thank you.
everybody to understand, no problem.
Of course, right.
And building on Lydia and Sylvia is mentioning, year over year, we had a reduction in capacity from the port because of these warehouses that lost this license that Lydia is just mentioning, HEDEX, in about 20% of volume, capacity of volume. And we had an increase in the crop size in about 20 to 25%. So we are struggling to execute more volume with lower capacity of cross-docking warehouses at the port. Sylvia, if you want to comment, what is the average time that you are having when you send a shipping instruction for a farmer to deliver at the port? What is the average days that you are able to perform, that the farmers are able to perform the deadline?
From the farm to the port, it's about in average 25 days, right? To do all this process, right? Loading trucks and the transit time to Santos, do the customs clearance, the inspection of MOA, Ministry of Agriculture, right? And do the customs clearance and get to window, right? But what is happening right now is the vessels are delaying a lot to birth, right? We had bad weather in south of Brazil, a lot of rainings there that is impacting in these schedules of birthing terminals. And then the birthing terminals don't have capacity to receive all this cargo stuffed customs clearance, right? And we are seeing a lot of rolling vessels delaying, causing extra costs, right? With storage, detention. What is happening nowadays in this crop season.
And from the experience that we are having here, Sylvia, we are able to accept the ship instruction with at least a 40 days deadline. This never happened before. Usually the deadline that we accepted in the previous crops were at least 15 days from the day that we received the deadline until we actually perform the deadline, the cargo deadline. And because of the lack of the facilities in the port, we are operating with an average of 40 days. So this is delaying a lot the execution, at least from our side here.
Understand. Yes. Yes, in average, right? 25, but some shipments we take more time, about 30 days, 32 days.
There is another question from Camila on the chat. She's asking, as you mentioned that there is a reduction in the number of companies that operates in Santos as a Redex. How can we help in this process? Is it a matter of concession?
Yes, because these terminals should attend all the requests by clearance, customs clearance, Receita Federal in Brazil, right? These terminals need to have an auditory, right? And check if they can attend all requests stipulated by customs clearance. In terms of security, in terms of protection of terminal, because Santos is a route to, we have a lot of cases of drugs in containers, right? And these terminals should have a minimum quantity of cameras. I don't know how many cameras, but they should have all this information saved in a cloud for minimum 6 months. So a lot of investments should be done by these terminals, right? And of course, they are the customs clearance are not giving these concessions easily, right?
Hi, Sylvia. It's
Hi.
Frozen. Hi. Just complementing my question. You mentioned actually Lidiane mentioned the companies that kind of lost the license. Is it somehow related to what you were explaining, that the government takes some time and have some requirements to issue the permit, let's say? And is there
Yes.
something we can do to maybe accelerate the process or help in some way?
So,
Thank you.
welcome, Camila. So, the association in Brazil, Abrapa, is treating about these cases with government, right? Because all the shippers, all the producers are claiming a lot about that because it's impacting in our performance, right? And in extra costs for cotton operation, right? So we have some discussions with Abrapa and another associations trying to get this license for these terminals and have more terminals, Redex terminals working for cotton at ports.
Thank you.
Sylvia, there is
Welcome.
another question here from Marcela. Do you believe shipping lines will provide more extra loaders to Brazil? Does it make sense to increase our capacity of exporting?
So for this year, more extra loaders for this year?
I believe, Marcela, I believe you asked for this crop year, right?
If I'm not mistaken, they will put more. I don't know if more 1 or 2, right? It helps a lot, but sometimes it causes problems because all the markets are loading trucks at farms and bringing cargo to the port, right, for the same vessel, right? And we have a big problem in Santos because we don't have the containers availability on time, right? And sometimes we don't catch these vessels because of all this huge volume arriving at Santos Port in the same time, right?
Right. We had issues in the extra loaders. The ones that were early September, we had very tough situation with trucks waiting for more than 10 days because the warehouses, they were full trying to operate and do the cross-docking for the whole volume that were arriving. So the concentration of an extra loader is very sensitive. So we should be very careful for not building on extra costs with trucks waiting to be unloaded.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of
There is
extra
another,
costs.
exactly. Sylvia, there is another question from Jacob. Transshipment ports have big role in shipment from Brazil to Asian countries like Bangladesh. Is there any opportunity for shipping companies and forwarders to take necessary measures to ensure faster transshipment from transshipment ports like Singapore and Colombo?
So it's a good question. Because all depends of shipping lines, right? The services in transshipments are very fully as well. When we have some shipments, for example, to Bangladesh, all the shipping lines informs, oh, we are having a lot of problems at the transshipments because we have a lot of cargoes there. But it's a subject that we should check with shipping lines just to see any alternatives, right?
All right. Any other question? So, okay. I would like to thank you, Sylvia, very much for your presentation today. I think it was a very good discussion. And definitely this is a topic that Brazil and everyone in the cotton industry in Brazil is connected, has challenges. So it's very good that we have an open forum to share ideas, to collaborate and learn about what is happening. So thank you very much, Sylvia. Would you like to make any final comment before I jump in on closing the session?
My comment is we have a lot of challenges, right, to export all the volume that we have for the current crop, of course, for the next crop, but we love it, right? I'm totally in love about operations, cotton, logistics. So it's crazy, right? In the end of crop, everybody is crazy with all the problems, managing all the discussing about extra costs with terminal shipping lines, but it's very, very good to work with cotton, and is my passion. And I guess everybody here have the same feeling about cotton, right?
Exactly. Thank you very much and congratulations on your job, Sylvia, and thank you for sharing your knowledge. I think you are right. Probably most of everyone that is in this session today is passionate about cotton. So that's very good. I invite everyone to join Woman in Cotton LinkedIn group and Facebook to follow up on the work that we are doing. And please sign up to our e-newsletter. And thank you very much. Please invite a friend to come over in the next online event. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.